What's going on, guys? My name is Seapeekay, host of all things MCC, and it's that time. It's time for all teams and my predictions for MCC 18. If you can do me one favor before we get into this video, please subscribe if you are not already. Some of you probably watch all the videos and don't even realize you're not subscribed. So just have a little check below the video and press subscribe, and let's get into all the team announcements and my predictions for MCC 18. Okay, so the first team we have is the Red Ravens, because obviously it's Halloween, so we've got some name changes in this one. And the team is Wisp, Filzer, Jack Manifold, and Tommy Innit, coming in with an average of 8,558. Now, what we have here is a team that's going to have fantastic chemistry, but is also full of incredibly talented players. Jack Manifold came in a few events ago and has consistently done pretty well. Tommy does have some consistency issues, but also has the ability to perform insanely well. And with Filzer and Wisp having a pretty bad event in the last MCC, this team based on last event score seems really balanced, but I think in actual fact, it's an incredibly powerful team. I think they're relative all-rounders. I don't think there's any games they're going to be particularly weak at, but this is a very, very balanced MCC with, I think, a possibility of almost all teams winning the event. I think we're going to see Tommy take up a leadership role, as he has been doing in MCC. And I think that the combination of him and Filzer working together, this team could do very, very well in the event. Next up, we got the Orange Oozes, which is Gizzy Yazza, Mefs, Tapple, and Kratzy. I don't even know how this team is a thing. It's incredibly powerful. They have an average of 9,504, which is crazy. Obviously, Scott does utilize their last event scores as well, which was a little lower than their current average, but overall, a very, very powerful team. With Gizzy and Mefs back in the mix, Mefs a bit of a fan favorite and has been missing quite a few MCCs, so it's really great to see Mefs back. And Tapple and Kratzy coming as probably one of the strongest PvP duos, I think, there has ever been. A great balanced team that I'm sure are going to have incredible vibes. I can see this team doing incredibly well in PvP-based games. Will we finally see the return of BattleBox? I really hope so. And if we do, I think we can see this team do really well in that game in particular. But again, no super weaknesses. Maybe things like build mart. I know Tapple is kind of crazy with bridging and stuff as well. So I see this team doing really well to get to the other side. Right now, I see this team easily being in contention for top 2 and getting themselves a place in Dodgeball. Next up, we have the Mustard Mummies. That team is made up of Sylvie, Tubbo, Sapnap, and Smager, and has an average of 9,127. What's fun about this is we get to see the Sylvie Sapnap duo again. It was a little bit chaotic last time we saw it, which was Sylvie, Sapnap, Orion Sound, and RT Game. But hopefully, Smager will be able to keep everything civil, and these guys will have a good shot at the event. Obviously, it's incredibly strong on paper. Sapnap has been really popping off. Sylvie coming off of one of her strongest performances. And as long as Smager and Tubbo do their normal job of getting somewhere between 10th and 20th place, then this team also, I feel, has a fast track to easily being in the top 3. It's incredibly competitive in this one. The edge I think this team might have over Orange is that I think they're a little bit better well-rounded. I think they might lack in PvP games a little bit over Orange, but they would sort of do better in games like Build Mart, which does tend to come up in MCC. Next up, we have the Lime Liches and our first new player of MCC 18. This time we see Illumina teaming up with Right Guy Rocky and Captain Puffy, and new player G Nelly. Now, I haven't seen G play Minecraft much. Honestly, I've known G for quite a while, but I do think with a little bit of training and guidance, G can actually do pretty well in this event. The only thing I do remember seeing G doing is practicing some parkour, which actually she seemed pretty decent at. So who knows, maybe a parkour tag veteran in the making. It's great to see Right Guy Rocky back in the mix and being teamed up with Illumina. I think that's a really, really powerful duo. Captain Puffy's also been playing incredibly well, and I think that this can be a really strong team. I don't think it's a winning team off the top of my head, but I do see it being potentially top half of the leaderboard. Next up, we got the Green Goblins. H-Bond being teamed up with Grian, Gem, and Niachu. I think this team will be immense vibes. I don't think there'll be a more positive team in the event. I think all of these players just ooze positivity. Definitely one of the weaker teams on average, based around average score. But I think with the right game order, this team can do incredibly well. They've got Grian, the build mart expert. H-Bomb is an absolute veteran of Sands of Time. Nikki putting in some solid performances recently, and Gem doing very well in her first event. Overall, I think this could be the surprise team. I think statistics place them pretty low, but we could see them do very well based on the kind of games that get picked. Only time will tell. The first team that was announced for day 2 is the Cyan Centipedes. Wilbersut, Rambu, Sneak Snag, and Captain Sparkles. Now, whilst I really like this team and I think it's going to be a really fun team to watch, I don't think they particularly have any standout players, with most of this team finishing somewhere between 15th place and 25th place on average. Sneak has now got one event under his belt though, so we could see Sneak do much better in the second time around, and I'm sure we're going to get immaculate vibes from the combination of Wilbur and Rambo. We did see some strong performance in individual games in the last event, and I think this team could do very well in games like To Get to the Other Side. Off the top of my head, I think this is looking like a bottom half of the leaderboard team if we were to base this all from statistics. Next up, we have the Aqua Abominations, Puns, Antfrost, Shubble, and Goomy. Now, I know Puns, Antfrost, and Goomy know each other super well, but I'm not sure how well Shubble knows them, but Shubble will slot into almost any team. Now, this team I think is very interesting because Puns has really come into his own in MCC Season 2, and Antfrost has also been proving that he's a top competitor. Goomy coming off the back of her first event now, looking to strengthen that performance going into her second MCC, and Shubble being a veteran of the event now is a fantastic all-rounder and knows these games inside out. I think if Puns and Antfrost take a shared leadership role, I know Antfrost loves to practice, and I'm sure this team can do great things. I'm excited to see them in games like Sky Battle, as I think that'll be a particularly good one for this team. Next up, we got the Blue Banshees. Rest in peace, the Blue Black Cats. That name is gone, and we are now here with the Blue Banshees. We have Pizza Hut, Pearlescent Moon, Dan TDM, and 5UP. Coming in with an average of 8772, it does place them decently high. However, a significant chunk of that average comes from Pizza Hut's incredibly high scores throughout his consistency in MCC. The return of Dan TDM and 5UP looking to improve on previous events. With someone who I think is personally very underrated, Pearlescent Moon coming in as well, I think this team is going to be fantastic in team-based and movement-based games. I'm looking at you, Hole in the Wall. Maybe lacking a little in some of the PvP-based games, but definitely strong, and on the day could be a top half of the leaderboard contender. Next up, we have my team, the Violet Vampires. Seapeekay, Smallish Beans, Solidarity Gaming, and Orion Sound. Statistically, one of the weaker teams in the event, coming in at 7950. One thing I will say about this team is the vibes will be insane. We are all British boys, and we've all known each other for a really long time. I've been friends with Joel and Ollie for like 8 years, and I've known Jimmy for years as well now. And I do think we're going to have a fantastic time. Our chemistry should be amazing. I know this team wants to practice. I think we could be a bit of a surprise team. Realistically, we should probably place bottom half of the leaderboard, but only time will tell. I'm really, really looking forward to this one, and I think it's going to be an absolute blast. And the final team is the Fuchsia Frankensteins, not pink, the Fuchsia Frankensteins. We have Dream, Newcomer or Sam Dude, Quackity, and George Not Found. Now, this is a very interesting one, with Quackity usually coming 30th to 40th place, Dream regularly partaking in the top 5. George is obviously very strong, and Sam being a complete unknown in this event. And outside of seeing Sam on the Dream SMP, I actually haven't seen Sam play the game that much. Is this team going to pop off? I really don't know. I think it could. I don't necessarily see it being a winning team, but I do think it will be a very fun one. I'm sure Dream and George are going to be happy with this team as well, as they get to just basically hang out with their friends and have a fun time. So I think the vibes will be immense. I think they're going to try some fun stuff. I know Dream's been coming up with some wacky strategies recently, and I'm really looking forward to watching them after the event. So as you can see from this, if you base it off the averages, the difference is 1671. If you base it off last event, the difference is actually 3774, which is actually massive. You can see here, yellow is the strongest team based on last event. Oh, no, actually it's not. Hilariously, if you take last event scores into account, my team is actually statistically the strongest team in this event, which I find hilarious because we are the second weakest team based on average score. So it should be a fun one. We're either going to flop or do really well. I can't wait to see. That's so funny to me. So what I've done here for the little simulator is just pick some random games. We've got Battle Box, Ace Race, Sky Battle survival games, Hole in the Wall build mod, To Get to the Other Side, and Grid Runners. I think a Grid Runners finale would be so fun. So I'd actually love to see that. Everyone literally racing to the end and no one knowing who has won until all the individual rooms have been done. It would be amazing, I think. I mean, you can see with this that the winner of MCC is yellow and the runner-up is red. It's pretty hefty. It's pretty hefty. Yellow wins 97.8% of the time. That is ludicrous. That really is insane. So the simulator is really expecting a massive yellow win. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead, make my top 10 predictions, and then you guys can tell me your top 10 predictions in the comment section as well. So without further ado, let's get into my top 10 for MCC 18. Okay, this one was incredibly tough, and these actually might change before the event. Maybe I'll do a tweet just before and change my mind. But I have Cyan 10, Lime 9, Red 8, 7 Fuchsia, Green 6, Violet 5, Aqua 4, Blue 3, Mustard 2, Orange 1. That's my opinion right now. This could change. Again, we're still way ahead. We're over 2 weeks away from the event yet. So I don't know the games. Once I know the games, I'll be able to get a more accurate one in. But I'm coming off the back of a very successful MCC Rising. where I did predict roughly half. If you include Pink winning Dodgeball as them as number 1, then that means I got 5 out of 10 teams right. So pretty insane. But yeah, hopefully I keep up my good streak of predictions. But yeah, I might change these based on Twitter and see when we get the games announced and stuff. But for now, I'm going to sit at this, let everyone get mad. And yeah, let me know your top 10 in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Seapeekay, host of All Things MCC. Subscribe if you're still here. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.